yourself like a man. I will question you, and you will answer me. Who is this being that questions me? I am the Lord God who makes all things. I was there when the morning stars sang together. I spoke to nothing, and it all came together. I dwell in unapproachable light. My mercy and grace, the only hope for your life. Brace yourself. Everything you see, I created all that. And when I return again, I'm gonna take it all back. Who questions my wisdom with ignorant speech? Brace yourself for listeners, the infinite speaks. Before whom do I stand corrected? Discredit my record. To the man who thinks he can, this question.
All right. Shalom, shalom. Dreaded Farmer, Torah Matters, jumping on with another segment of Second Ezra, or Second Esdras. We're now in its fourth chapter, and this one is an interesting chapter. And, you know, what I gather from this chapter is just how inexhaustible our Elohim is. And when I look up the word inexhaustible, the definition says, in a sense, it's something that cannot be used up or has limitless energy. And so if you think about the power, the wisdom, the knowledge of Elohim, of our God, it's inexhaustible. It can never be used up. It's limitless. It's infinite. And so that's what I see here in chapter 4. I'm going to read a passage, and then I'm going to show you another passage in the regular scriptures that really kind of ties in beautifully. So in chapter 3, at the end of chapter 3, Ezra is questioning Elohim, and he's like, man, you know, why is there such a punishment on your people Israel? I mean, who else in the world even keeps your commands or even knows your name? You know, especially not the heathen, you know, but isn't your name only found in Israel? And so God sends an angel. He sends Uriel to give him an answer. And starting in verse 2, it says, and he said, your heart has gone too far in this world, and think you to comprehend the way of El Elyon? And that means the Most High. And then he goes on to say, then said I, yea, my Adonai. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show you 3 ways, to set forth 3 similitudes before you, whereof if you can declare me one, I will show you also the way you desire to see, and I shall show you from whence the wicked heart comes. And I said, tell on, my Adonai. Then said he unto me, go your way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of wind, or call me again the day that is past. Then I answered and said, what man is able to do that you should ask such things of me? And he said unto me, if I should ask you how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the expanse, or which are the outgoings of paradise, perchance you would say unto me, I never went down into the deep, nor as yet into Sheol, which is the land of the dead, or the place of the dead, neither do I ever climb up into heaven. Nevertheless, now have I asked you but only of the fire and wind, and of the day wherethrough you have passed, and of the things from which you cannot be separated, and yet can you give me an answer of them? And he said moreover unto me, your own things, and such as are grown up with you, can you not know? How should your vessel then be able to comprehend the way of El Elyon, and the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight? So basically he asked him to tell him about, he told him to weigh the weight of fire, measure the blast of the wind, and call again the day that's past. So can you weigh fire? No. Can you measure the blast of wind? Can you bring back the day that's already passed? No. So we can't do that. And then so he goes on to say, well then, you know, how great are the dwellings of the sea? How many springs are there in the beginning of the deep? And how many springs are above the expanse? So these are all questions that Ezra is like, I don't know. I can't answer that stuff. I've never been down in the deep. I've never been up into the heavens. I don't know. So the angel Uriel is like, well, if you don't know these things that are part of the world you live in right now, how could you possibly understand El Elyon, the Most High? How could you possibly understand what he understands or what he does or how his judgments are, right? So this, when I read that, it immediately took me to the book of Job. And I thought about Job 38, where it says, then Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh answered Job out of the whirlwind. He said, who is this who darkens counsel with words without knowledge? Now gird up your loins like a man. I will question you, and you will inform me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who set its dimensions, if you know? Or who stretched a line over it? On what were its foundations set, or laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy, and who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made a cloud its garment, and thick darkness its saddling cloth, like a baby. When I prescribed my boundary for it, and set bars and gates, when I said, this far you may come, but no further. Here your majestic waves will stop. Have you ever in your life commanded the morning or caused dawn to know its place, that it would take hold of the corners of the earth and shake the wicked out of it? It changes shape like clay under a seal. They stand out like those of a garment, and from the wicked their light is withheld, and the upraised arm is broken. Have you gone to the springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you seen the gates of the deepest darkness? Have you comprehended the expanses of the earth? If you know it all, declare it. In what direction does light dwell, and darkness, where is its place? That you can take it to its borders and discern the paths of its home. Surely you know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great. Have you entered the storehouses of snow, or seen the storehouses of hail, which I've reserved for a time of distress, for a day of battle and war? In what direction is light distributed, or the east wind scattered over the earth? Who cuts a channel for the flood, and a path for the thunderstorm, to cause it to rain on an uninhabited land, a desert with no one in it, to satisfy a devastated and desolate land, and cause it to sprout grass? Does the rain have a father, or who has birthed the drops of dew? From whose womb comes the ice? Who gives birth to the frost of heaven? And when the waters hide the stone, the surface of the deep is frozen. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades, or loosen the belt of Orion? Do you bring out the constellations in their season, or guide the bear with her cubs? Do you know the ordinances of heaven? Can you set up dominion over the earth? Can you raise your voice to the clouds and cover yourself with the abundance of water? Can you send out lightning bolts so they go? Will they say to you, here we are? Who put wisdom in the secret place, or gave understanding to the mind? Who can count the clouds by wisdom, or tip over the water jars of heaven? When dust hardens into a mass and clods of earth stick together. So he's in that passage he's telling Job, because Job is wondering about the basically the judgment that's on him. He's like, why am I being afflicted? What have I done wrong? I haven't sinned. Let's have a hearing, God. Explain these things to me. And then God's like, wait, were you around? Are you God? Were you here when I did all these things? When I set all these things in place? Of course not. Who are you to ask these questions? Now we know that Job was restored, even better than he had before with his family. More sons and daughters. Daughters were even more beautiful than they ever were before. He got all his riches restored. He kind of challenged God, and God accepted the challenge and blessed him for it. And you see the same thing in Ezra. Ezra's challenging God and asking all these questions, like, show me what's going to happen and why, and God blesses him as well. So I think it's okay to question these things, but understand that we're probably not going to understand the answer, because the answer is above our thinking. It's above what we've been created for. And so we just have to remember that our God is inexhaustible. He is the Most High. He is more powerful in wisdom and dominion than we are. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So we really need to remember that about him, that he is a good God and that he knows what's best for us. And not only that, but he actually works all things for our good and his glory. Hallelujah. So if we walk in that on a daily basis, then we don't have to have all the answers. We need to know that he's in control and he has all the answers. And he will reveal to us what he wants us to know, just like he revealed to the prophets what he wanted them to know. So we know that the Most High, El Elyon, is Messiah Yeshua, and he wants what's good for us, and he has created what's good for us, and he wants us to walk in it, right? Because those things, these works, were created beforehand so that we would walk in it. So I just want to encourage you, those of you that haven't read 2nd Ezra or 2nd Esdras, definitely look that up online. You can definitely find it in PDF format and in some other websites. Take a look at that and just see the inexhaustible nature of our Elohim, and what he's revealing to Ezra about end times is literally a call to action for us. We are to read these things and realize, what it is that God is looking for in his people, in his bride, and we need to walk that out on a daily basis. And it means dying to self. It means, putting ourself aside, our very life aside for the kingdom, right, and for the benefit of others. So we need to empty ourselves just like Messiah Yeshua emptied himself to become a servant. We need to empty ourselves for the benefit of others. And we need to understand that God is in control. He is the one that's all-knowing. He's the one that has the major plan for our lives. We just need to walk in it. So if you haven't abided in Messiah Yeshua, today is the day. Today is the day to do that, to, make him Lord and Master of your life. If you don't know how to do that, feel free to reach out. I'm available to help you walk that journey. But it's a journey and a destination. He is the prize. He is the shield. He is the great reward. So I want y'all to share this with someone in need. Live it, love it, share this. Dreaded Farmer signing out. I love all y'all, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Shalom, shalom.